Hello. Good evening, my praise. How are you guys? I see that no one is here waiting for me. I feel so all alone. No, I do enjoy your visiting, and I also enjoy that you guys get to watch it on the replay. The replay crew is actually kind of critical to the algorithm. So having people in the chat is awesome. And I always enjoy the live chat, which is why I come on live to present my material rather than just do the pre-recorded. Plus, when you pre-record, you have to upload, and it's weird. It's been taking a much longer lately on YouTube. The other day, I did a pre-recorded yoga video, and it took like 6 hours to upload. And it's not like they had to double check to see if I, had any copyright infringements or anything like that. So, anywho, the trouble of YouTube content creating, right? It's always something, you guys. So let's just get started with the regular stuff. Let me see. Let me clear my throat. Please make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed. And if you're not, consider it. It's much appreciated. I think I am getting super close to 4,000 subs again. It's like I was there like a year ago, and then it's been like this back and forth. And, it'd be nice to just keep going past that, but we'll see. I mean, I'm always just happy to have my channel. So share a video of mine if you like, and if you think you know somebody who'd like my channel, turn on your notification bell to ring so you can be aware when I'm coming on live or when I drop a new video. And what's the other stuff? The thumb. Please, please let me knock down all my cute, funky stuff. There we go. Nice save, huh? All right. There we go. Please hit that like button. Mary Thomas, good evening. Did you see my nice save? I'm always worried that I'm going to knock stuff over. And, actually the way I moved that, now you can see that really bright light coming from down there, which is a little distracting. So maybe I'll try to block it with my knee or something. I don't know. Fast hands. Yeah, fast hands. Good evening. Blessings to you and all in chat. Well, it might just be me and you, Mary Thomas. It's like Marlo Thomas, that girl. Anyway, I showed you guys the creepy thumb. Please hit it. And yeah, let me see if I can do something funky to block that light, because I don't like it. It's like flooding. See, that's the problem with the lighting on the YouTube, is that it likes to flood. There. What is going on? It's just like too much of a good thing is not a good thing. Okay. That's fine. And I watched that show. Yeah, Marlo Thomas. And then she married Phil Donahue. They're probably still married, right? She was awesome. It's around the same time as the Mary Tyler Moore show. So Mary Thomas, Mary Tyler Moore, Marlo Thomas. That's it. You're that girl, huh? Aren't you? Very cool. Very, very cool. So I came on tonight wanting to talk with you guys about the low-hanging fruit of the nut job, J.P. Miller. I have to say that because I do feel like it's just kind of ludicrous. But at the same time, I feel like it's important to push the momentum that man is unraveling himself, and he's a criminal. I believe that he took the life of Micah Miller one way or another. I believe that he did that. And let me just say that everything I do say is simply my opinion. Hey, Sherry, lovely to see you. Everything I say is for the sake of hoping to start a conversation and learn something and be educational. All my videos to date have been made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. Yesterday, I missed making a video because I was out at a live concert with my fam, and it was so much fun. So I wanted to share some of that with you guys because I don't like crowds, and, I used to love going to see live music, but not so much anymore, especially like a big arena. This was like a 10,000 person venue. And it was a band that I'd never heard the name of, but my daughters wanted to go. And so my husband and I went to chaperone them. The band is called AJ. Wait, it's like Adam and Jack and somebody. Now I'm getting all confused. I think it's AJR, right? AJR. I'm so stupid. Let me look at my phone. Oh, that's too funny. I've been listening to them all day too. They are so funny. Yeah, AJR. So it's like Adam, Jack, and who's the R one? Oh, it doesn't matter. But I can find out. So you guys have probably heard of this band. And oh, Fred Field is here. Almost bedtime. Kylie talk. Of course, we always want to talk about Kylie. I was going to be talking more about the band that I saw last night play live. You guys, if you've never heard of AJR, and you probably have, it's Adam, Jack, and Ryan. It's three brothers from New York City, Columbia educated. They're freaking amazing, and they've been in this band together since high school, and they're like in their 30s roughly. So the most popular song that probably everyone has heard is called Bang, and I could play it for you real quick, but that might be kind of silly. I've got links to a couple of their songs in my description already. I have it on double speed. It's so funny. Still I'm not feeling right. Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to go. Here we go. So put your best face on, everybody pretend you know this song, everybody. Okay, so I gotta break it up probably because copyright laws, and I don't know, I might get copyright struck anyway, but I'm just gonna play like the chorus real quick. Okay, that's it. And I'm realizing that I do not have my mic plugged in. And do I even have my mic handy? It shouldn't have wandered off anywhere. That's weird. Where did it go? Anyway, you guys can probably hear me okay. But that is annoying. I'd like to know where my stuff is, and I didn't move it. It should be right around here somewhere. Oh, well. We won't worry about it at the moment. It's crazy trying to keep everything in order, is it not? That's just life. So, like I said, hopefully I won't get copyright stricken for just playing a quick little piece of their song. Their lyrics are so freaking intelligent. And the reason why I'm talking about them and want to share them with you guys is because their music is very theatrical and very inspiring, and they have a very unique voice. And their message, really their creative message, is just to be yourself and just to trust yourself and, you know, screw the critics, screw the trolls. And their lyrics are just really witty and really funny. And I think that they're kind of like for all ages. There were like little kids there, which was adorable. They're all dancing and stuff. And then let me just talk about it real quick, and then I promise I'll get into the true crime. But one of the things that they do as a band is they just kind of break all barriers, and they pop up in the audience like unexpectedly mid concert. So that was really cool. I had no idea that they did that, and they popped up where we almost chose our seats. So we didn't get so lucky to sit with them, but that's all right. It was still phenomenal. And the little kid in front of me dancing like the entire time was so cute. I had a couple of my kids with me and my husband, and it was just a fun family event. So check them out. Oh, and this was the best part because you guys know I'm a huge Weezer fan. And of course, Weezer is a fan of theirs, which is funny because they're, little Columbia College boys. I mean, they're adults now, but they all went to Columbia, which is a super fancy college if you don't know. And Weezer was Harvard dropouts, at least one or two of them, at least the lead singer, but they were from Cambridge, Massachusetts, where Harvard is. And I think it was more than just the lead singer of Weezer. So they dropped out of Harvard to do their music thing when Rick Ocasek from the Cars discovered them. And then Harvard has given them a free license to come back to school whenever they want. Because usually if you take time off from Harvard, you have to reapply if more than 12 months lapses. But Harvard is very supportive of the arts, so that's way cool. And Weezer is just phenomenal. These bands that just write really tongue-in-cheek about their feelings. It's adorable. It's absolutely adorable. I find Oh yeah, Fred, thank you for saying that. I find it's the same with or without the mic too, so long as I have the laptop is up on a metal box. And so as long as I have that set up, it's fine. I think if I have it on a table with a tablecloth, then it's not fine. Then it's all muffled. But yeah, I think that it's a little bit better with the mic. But since I have the good setup, I'm just really baffled, what happened to it. That's really weird, but I'll figure it out. I mean, I didn't take it anywhere. I try to leave everything in one spot and not move things, because moving things get lost. Even if I think I know where it is, that, maybe one of my kids borrowed it or something. But anyway, it's hard keeping your crap together, isn't it? We all know that. So yeah, this whole mess with Micah Miller and JP, I do feel like it's almost redundant to talk about how pathetic he is. But like I said, I feel like it's important too to keep greasing the wheels. He's greasing the wheels himself. And, we just want to be sure that he gets his comeuppance and that there's justice for Micah. And it seemed like at the last church service this past Sunday, if you saw some videotape footage of him coming outside and just standing there, seemed like he was wishing that people would come up to him and talk to him and maybe try to interview him about his last interview. But I don't know, maybe he's realizing that he shouldn't be talking so much, but I doubt he can stop himself. I think he's so compulsive and impulsive. He has very poor impulse control. And I think the train wreck that we're seeing is not so much mental health. If it was, I would definitely want to back off, because, somebody's mental health is their medical health. And you could argue that too about addictions, but not when people are a danger to others and potentially costing people their lives, which I do think that his erratic behavior cost Micah her life. But what I want to say is that I'm convinced that most everything that we see with him, as crazy as he seems, and yeah, he might have a bipolar diagnosis, he might have a lithium prescription, he might have personality access to, cluster B personality disorders like narcissism and histrionic and borderline. But more than anything, I think that what we're seeing with him is substance abuse. And I kind of thought that at the outset, and then I kind of backed off of that. And I'm going back down that road. So often in the mental health field, the very, very difficult clients and the very difficult crises are often drug and alcohol related. And when people lie about the drugs and the alcohol, it makes it harder to help them because you think, okay, then this is all mental health, or, you're trying to decipher what's going on. And if people will just admit when it's substance abuse, then you can address the substance abuse. But often they won't admit it. I mean, that's part of the whole thing with substance abuse, is the denial. So they'll deny it to authorities, they'll deny it to themselves. And one of the things that really tips me in that direction on the scale is in that interview with News Nation, when it's towards the end, when the man says something about hallucinogens. And at 45 years old, JP acts like he's never heard that word. Like he doesn't know how to enunciate it. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know what it does. Dumb like a fox. I'm pretty sure that every 45-year-old that I've ever met in my life knows what a hallucinogen is, whether they've ever tried one or not. So him pretending that he'd never heard of one makes me think that he probably abuses the powdery substance that I've been suspicious of all along, in addition to possibly that type of stuff. People like to mess around with their little magic mushrooms or other things that cause hallucinations. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. But that denial of, just trying to play completely ignorant makes me really suspicious. What do you guys think of that? And again, it reminds me of my father with his pretending that he'd never heard of carbon monoxide poisoning. So it was like in my last live towards the end that I had a little epiphany with you guys, realizing, and this is embarrassing, but that JP is a lot like my father, even though my father was not that goofy. He was much more sophisticated. And he actually wasn't abusing substances for most of his adult life. I think he engaged in some of that in the 60s, but I was born in 67, and I think he probably gave all that up in the early 70s, if even that late in the game. And it's almost scarier when people have these mental health disorders that you can't rationalize away with substances, because if it's substances, then you can really say, well, it's not the person, it's the addiction. And you can say that with mental health as well. But if somebody is not going to seek treatment, if they're treatment resistant or non-compliant, whatever the diagnosis is, that can be the scariest diagnosis, is to have a diagnosis, to have the help available, and then to run for the hills and do everything but get treatment. Those are your highest risk members of society, in my opinion. They're high risk for themselves, and they're really high risk for the people that hang out with them, people that date them, people that marry them, people that are in the family or work with them. They're erratic and they're hard to predict, and they'll take you down. They don't care. They do not care. They will throw you under the bus, right? We've all been there. We've all done that, and it's very unfortunate. Super, super unfortunate. So, yes, justice for Kylie, Rodney, Sherry, totally. So my thing that I want to say about JP and Micah is that he might have thought that having her not living anymore was going to solve some of his problems. Maybe he thought it was going to solve all of his problems, and I don't think it has. I think it's made his problems worse, and it's kind of his undoing. It's kind of his Achilles heel right there. because he just can't keep his mouth shut. He can't keep his story straight. The fisherman, you guys, my goodness, the fisherman did an interview with that Flo guy on TikTok. And I think it was Veronica Adams who broke it down on one of her last videos. And it's mind boggling to try to follow these people. So I believe that this fisherman is probably in cahoots with JP to some degree, maybe even like has never met him directly, but somebody from JP's camp reeled him in and got him to do his little part. I mean, the whole story is so bizarre. And I know people have been talking about that ever since it happened. And, his whole thing about going off site to buy a lighter and then coming back in a different car and, taking this person's stuff. And it's just really strange. I'm going to link Veronica Adams' video in the description here. So, I also wanted to correct myself. I said Robbie S. Harvey the other day, the Robbie Harvey channel, and JP likes to call him Robbie Stinky Harvey, and I messed it up. I said Robbie Stupid Harvey. But, when I catch myself making those mistakes, I do like to clean them up. Hello, Annie Ruler. Hola from Seattle. Man, you were like the globetrotter, girl. Absolutely. I was watching Ken Maines on Crime Story of the Sam Shepard case 70 years ago. Didn't know it happened in Ohio. Thought of you. Sam Shepard. I know the name, but I'm not that familiar. Yeah. There's some nasty stories from Ohio. Wasn't Hannibal the cannibal, like that Silence of the Lambs was made about? Wasn't he from Ohio? And maybe BTK or Gary Ridgway. One of them was from Ohio. Jeffrey Dahmer, I think, was from Ohio. Yeah, we spawn them evil here, don't we? I mean, gross. Do you guys remember that case in Cleveland? Like, was that like 10 years ago now? The 3 women who were being held captive in that guy's house. That was crazy. And they all 3 survived. And they all were recovered and lived to tell about it. And one of them, I don't know if she still works for the news station. I'll have to check. She had her own little like missing person segment on the Cleveland News. It was way cool. Doctor Who spontaneously wife and kids, a military doctor. Wow. Yeah, which was he at a military base? There's also a content creator, I think his name is Colin Landry, who works in Hollywood. He does true crime, and his motivation is that his father unalived his mother, and this is when he was growing up and they lived in Ohio, and he hid her in the floorboards of the house that they proceeded to live in. Like, I thought my story was bad, right? Whoa. Wowsy, wowsy, wowsy. Where's my water? That's just insane. Is it not? Like, living on top of that? Oh, how disgusting. And yeah, that's so sad because it gives military a really bad, just a bitter pill for military to have any connection to somebody like that. BTK was like a forest ranger or something. And he was also, I think, a Boy Scout leader. And, it just makes that whole thing really creepy. I mean, Boy Scouts have had a lot of trouble. Just like the Catholic Church has had a lot of trouble, just like the gymnastics affiliation of the United States has had a ton of trouble with Larry Nassar and all that crap. Ugh, it's insane, isn't it? And it's insane how people that are part of these really respected and respectable institutions, how they can get in there and then have access to all these victims, and then the victims aren't going to be believed. You're not going to believe a 12-year-old kid over a well-respected doctor. I mean, it's changed some, but yeah, I mean, the Me Too movement and Simone Biles and all the others that have been through it and testified about it in court in Washington, D.C., and good for them. But how awful to have to go through all that. So let's see. With Micah and with Kylie, and even maybe with Taylor Casey, the woman from Chicago that's been missing down in the Bahamas. And I keep fearing that we're going to get some bad news about her. And I pray that that's not the case. I pray that there's some good news about her, because it's just so sad for her family to not have any answers. But Micah and Kylie and Taylor's phone all found in bodies of water. And I don't know that you guys are aware, but in cases of SA, of the violation of the intimate type, there's usually a mention of water early on by the perpetrators. So when they're spinning whatever web of lies that they're spinning, they have some to do with water in there. It's like a red flag for law enforcement that, oh, they're talking about water. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. So, Micah and Kylie, neither of them is there any indication of any kind of violation like that officially. But I think that it would be so ignorant and naive to just take that for granted and go, oh, okay, then that must not be a thing. Because these are both such beautiful women. And we know that Micah was getting violated by JP and his disgusting, lewd fantasies. And it seems highly likely that Kylie was in a bad situation where she wasn't being protected from that kind of thing. It seems highly, highly likely. And to think that both of these beautiful young women would be extinguished and have their lives taken, and that the sick freaks that did that wouldn't go there, is almost farcical, because that's what sick freaks do. I don't like to talk about it. I really don't. But I think it's something to keep in mind. And then by putting the bodies in the water, Micah and maybe Kylie too, if that was her in the water, it erases DNA. It doesn't erase fingerprints, which, is why I think they took the sticker off the back of Kylie's car, or what they tried to pretend was Kylie's car. But it does disintegrate a lot of evidence. And what kind of pattern is that people are found in bodies of water? I mean, if I throw some phrases out there like cement shoes or swimming with the fishies, you'll catch my drift, right? Oh, and speaking of which, I was thinking about Tahoe and how it has 6 counties and 2 states of jurisdiction around it. And I thought, man, does that not make it the perfect body of water to hide somebody in? I mean, first of all, it's insanely deep. We've all heard the stories of Jacques Cousteau and his son, who have seen things down there that they don't think the world is ready to see. And some people say that they're over exaggerating it, but when you think about how deep that water is, the fact that the what I refer to as the fuzzy jurisdictions is just like a cluster of fuzzy jurisdictions. So yeah, like what state, what county? Take your pick. You got Nevada, you got California, and then you've got 6 counties to pick from. And then you've also got all the city law enforcement in all the little towns all around there. Not to mention the ski patrol. We won't even get into that, right? There was issue with a ski patrol and the woman that was assaulted who unalived herself. Anybody remember her name? A lot of people have talked about it since the Kylie Rodney case. And it's really sad. Like, she was in her 20s and it came up again and again and again. Let me see if I can find it on a quick Google. I kind of doubt I'll be able to. But it's not like it's a unique thing, unfortunately. Ski patrol, Tahoe. See if this pulls it up. Is this it? Tiffany, right? You guys remember Tiffany? By the time you read this, I'll be gone. It was in Outside Magazine. So Tiffany is her first name. And let me see if I can figure out what her second name is from this. Tiffany Thiel. Oh, I can't believe it came right up. So Google delivers sometimes. Tiffany Thiel. I'm going to read you guys a little bit of this in case you're not familiar. This was published May 2nd, 2022. And it's in Outside Magazine. It's titled, "By the Time You Read This, I'll Be Gone." Last summer, Tiffany Thiel, a young rock climber from Reno, Nevada, took her life after posting a Facebook message claiming she'd been AR'd by a ski patroller. She left behind an unsolvable mystery about what really happened, along with urgent questions about whether more could have been done to heal her feelings of pain and distrust. Tiffany Thiel was planning to climb the east buttress of Yosemite's El Capitan, a stout route with 9 pitches that rise 1,500 feet above the valley floor, the longest multi-pitch line she'd ever attempted. An elementary school teacher with sun-drenched blonde hair, blue eyes, silver-studded nose piercing, and a strong, vivacious personality, Thiel told friends how excited she was about the challenge. She intended to attempt the route with a climber from Portland, Oregon, named Chris Alexander. The two met last summer through a Facebook group. They climbed together once during that time in the mountains on the California side of Tahoe, ending the 12-hour day with beers on the tailgate. The new plan was for Alexander to fly to Reno, Nevada, where Thiel lived, during the first week of October. From there, they'd drive to Yosemite together. On Saturday, September 18th, Thiel celebrated her 38th birthday by climbing and going out to dinner. That day, she texted a friend about planning a climbing trip to Red Rock outside Las Vegas. Thiel had just bought a guidebook, and the two swapped ideas about which routes they wanted to try. According to Thiel's close acquaintance, she seemed happy and optimistic at the time. She talked about big hopes for the future. She dreamed of snowboarding in Japan someday. She'd found plane tickets to Greece for $300. She was itching to go to Moab, the climbing and mountain biking hub in Utah. On Monday night, September 20th, she and Alexander texted back and forth about Yosemite, working on logistics. He says he didn't notice anything wrong. Her responses were a little slow, but otherwise seemed normal. "Can't wait," she wrote. "I led some 11s in the gym a couple of days ago." The next Tuesday, September 21st at 12:42 p.m., Thiel went onto Facebook, where her account was Tiff Stir, and posted a long message on the local Climb Truckee Tahoe group page, as well as other community pages. She made a shocking accusation that up until this moment, she had not aired publicly or shared with the police. So I'm just going to read a little bit more and then I'll get caught up on your comments here. In the post, Thiel said she was AR'd in the summer of 2018 by a ski patroller from Alpine Meadows. now Palisades, Tahoe. He put something in my drink, concealed a recording device from me, and placed a cell phone under a pillow. I don't know where I got yellow from. She said, I remember feeling very dizzy after one drink. My memory is fragmented from that point. I found the cell phone placed face down under a pillow. I was scared and alone. I screamed. He turned me on my back and put the phone in my hand as he did what he did. Thiel said she had filed a report with the Placer County Sheriff's Office a month after the incident happened. Her case was forwarded to the DA's office, she said, but the DA decided against filing charges, citing insufficient evidence. Oh, that's so sad. Though it's not conveyed in her Facebook post, Thiel's initial accusation against the patroller was that he had used a recording device while they were in the act without asking her permission. The sheriff's report from 2018 did not mention R, and it does not include an allegation that Thiel was rugged. But something, it's unclear what, happened that compelled Thiel to frame the event differently years later. I have tried so hard to forgive myself. I've tried so hard to find meaning again, she wrote on Facebook. Next week, I had plans to climb El Capitan. I thought this would be my big comeback, a way to put the past behind and show that I'm still strong. I'm strong, but I'm not that strong. We all have our limits. Life has been such a beautiful journey, and I'm so sorry to those I left behind. So sad. Thiel said things hadn't been the same for her since the incident and that she was suffering from PTSD. I can no longer trust in a relationship, she went on. I see the world filled with injustice in which police blame women. I've seen that. Police harass women and they treat them differently than men, and especially Placer County Sheriff. I mean, back then, the current sheriff wasn't the actual sheriff, but he was the undersheriff. So he still ran the department. That woo freak of the week. Ugh, gross. Women blame women. Women blame themselves. I don't want to be strong anymore. I'm tired of battling and being blamed. I just want to go somewhere that I can find peace again. Immediately after the post went up, concerned friends started reaching out. A climbing buddy named Trevor Vicus, a student from South Lake Tahoe, was sitting in class when he saw the message about 20 minutes after it appeared. He texted Thiel immediately, hey, call me if you need a friend. I'm here. Reach out. She didn't respond. He called and left a voicemail saying, call me back. No word. Alexander saw the post at 1:45 and also texted, hey, he wrote, you have plans to go to Yosemite in 2 weeks. We're both looking forward to it, and we're going to have a great time. I just read your post. I'm going to call you in a little while. You're okay. When she didn't respond, Alexander texted again at 2:08 saying he was going to request assistance. Please let me know you're okay. He wrote, I'm going to call for a welfare check if I don't hear anything from you really soon. He wrote. Thiel responded at 2:20. Do not call the police, she texted. I don't want them to put a legal hold on me. I've made my decision. You don't understand what I've been through. I'm so sorry that I can't climb with you. I just can't do this anymore. He was never held accountable. I'm just so angry that he was never held accountable. Less than a minute later, she repeated, I'm so sorry. I'm almost done with reading this. Kimberly Flowers, a marriage and family therapist from Truckee who first met Thiel in 2014 through a climbing club, was coming in from paddleboarding when friends started calling her to ask if she'd seen the post. Flowers had not. She hadn't been to Thiel's apartment before, so she began calling anyone she thought might be able to help locate her. Another friend and climbing partner named Haley, who asked that her last name not be used, also called Thiel repeatedly. It was around 2:30 by then, almost 2 hours after the post. I had this really bad gut feeling, recalls Haley, who lives about 2 hours away from Reno, but met Thiel to climb regularly. This was not like Tiff. Thiel's phone was still receiving calls, but she didn't pick up. Then, after one of several unanswered attempts by Haley, Thiel texted her at 248. I want you to have my rack, my bikes, my board paddle, my paddle board, and any other gear you want. I'm so sorry, Thiel wrote. Haley got the text and then tried calling again, but Thiel's phone was turned off and the call went to voicemail. Hours of agony followed. Someone called the police department in Reno and requested a wellness check. Thiel's mother, Nancy, obtained the keys and went to her daughter's apartment in Reno, but she wasn't there. Haley and Flowers were in contact with Nancy as well as Thiel's stepdad, Dave Fish, trying to piece things together. What places meant the most to Thiel? Where might she go? One location stood out, Donner Summit. That was a place where her soul felt inspired. Donner, yikes. Most people feel creeped out by it. That was a place where she felt inspired and happy, place where she thought she could find peace. At 4:12, a call came into 911 dispatch in Truckee. Someone driving near Donner Summit had seen a car parked at a freeway exit. Soon after, the Truckee Fire Department found a woman hanging 50 feet from, trigger warning, hanging 50 feet above the road. This makes me want to cry. Beneath the Interstate 80 overpass just north of Donner Lake, nearby inside a Subaru with an orange mountain bike on its rack, responders found a camp chair, a bike helmet, a laptop, an iPhone turned off, and her driver's license was in a purse in the car. I'm going to stop there. It reminds me of the photograph of Kylie with what looks like a noose, and she's in the black dress with the red sash. And I believe that bridge that's in the background is that same bridge that they're talking about, the Interstate 80 bridge, the overpass just north of Donner Lake. Wow. Creepy. So I will link that article in the description too. I'm really glad that I looked that up. So I think that the September that this happened was like 11 months before what happened with Kylie. I believe it was September of 21. And then Kylie, of course, was August of 2022. And we're just 2 weeks away from that anniversary. Let's see. Oh, Annie Ruler. Hello. Hey, Sandra. Lovely to see you guys. Paper Songs. It's been a minute. I miss you. I love your handle and the sad story that goes with it. So yeah, the ski patrol is just one of many rescue squads in Tahoe that are considered complete studs that can do no wrong. I mean, they spend the whole winter saving people's lives and rescuing people. And I want to remind everybody that Tahoe is full of rescue heroes that save people's lives and rescue folks all year round, because it's the great outdoors. It's the Sierra Nevadas, and there's all kinds of rescues that have to happen. And so they've got very highly trained professionals and volunteers. They have this state-of-the-art equipment. And what I'm saying is that there's no good reason why they couldn't find Kylie, except that they didn't want to find her, in my opinion. Good night, Fred. I will try to catch the replay when I wake at 2 a.m. You are so good to go to sleep. Yes, take care of yourself. That is just wild that you have to wake up at 2 a.m. So, yeah. As soon as I read that part in that article about where they found her hanging, I had forgotten all about that. And that image of Kylie in that black dress with the red sash, I can't even speak, sash. That's very artsy, very photoshopped and intentionally photoshopped. And we all know that it's the original photo of Kylie is from the pier when she's dancing or playing with Jägermeister, and he made that video of her without her knowing. And the position that she's in with her hands on his hands is a still shot from the video that was used for the images with that bridge behind her. Maybe there's two of those photos, and I've used them for thumbnails numbers of times, and maybe I'll use one again in today's thumbnail. But one of them has the bridge in the background, and then I think the other one has what looks like a noose. I'll have to look at them again. And maybe, I don't know if I can even try to show you, because I'm trying to figure out how I can use my technology more better to, so here's a picture of Tiffany Thiel in her climbing gear that looks like a nice lake. I don't know if that's Donner Lake or Lake Tahoe or what, but that's the photograph that goes with that article. So, oh, and I did find the timestamp for the video where NK says Shanann. I found that timestamp, and it's in the description from my last video from the day before yesterday. For anybody who's interested, I was so happy I found it. So it's been so long since I've looked at those photographs of Kylie with that black dress, and they're so creepy. I'm not sure I'll be able to find them as easily as I thought I could. Maybe not. You know me, I don't like giving up, but sometimes you have to, right? Sometimes you have to. And let's see. Hello, Anna Bees. Honestly, looked like, yeah, Paper Songs. Honestly, looked like that photo was getting ready for a CD cover. It would be a pretty cool CD cover, but it's also pretty creepy and spooky, really. Like at first, when I first saw the photos, I thought, oh, those are just really cool artistic photos. And then, of course, when you look at things too long, they can get haunted looking. But to me, they're very haunted. Am I never going to find it? I'm so close. I can feel it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, here it is. Okay. I hope this is worth it, because oh, so the noose thing is with the one in with that bridge. Here, I'll show it to you guys. If you can see it, I don't even know. Let me. Can you see that? Yeah, you can kind of see. Maybe if I turn my brightness down. Well, it's too complicated to adjust it while I'm on a live. Okay, so this one with that bridge has a thing coming from her head. You can almost see it's like something hanging from the bridge that looks like it's touching her head, sorta, kinda. And then she's got that weird ring around her waist that's almost like a hula hoop. So, yeah, it's bizarre. And then the other one My device is doing some weird stuff. Okay. So the other one is even more haunted looking, but it's weird how it has kind of I should be printing these out like HAR, right? Or whatever her name is. A for J. So it's weird how this one tree is like coming straight down to her as if it could be something that she's hanging from. You see what I mean there? So yeah, I should just use these for the thumbnails so that you can stare at them if you want. So that's the one that almost looks like it could be like a rope hanging down. And I'm pretty sure that that's the same bridge. Like that was the image that I thought of when I was reading that. You know what? I think I'm missing one of the photos here too, because I think there's a third one maybe with
Hi, I'm Taylor Shaw Business, and I'm a very hardworking
Taylor Shaw Business. You guys, we don't ever talk about her, do we? We don't need to. Okay. And anyone heard from Squirrels on Fire lately? Yes, Sandra, I have. She's doing great. So yeah, no need to worry about her. So she did a live, I think this last Friday night, and then Ara did a live a couple of days ago, and she was very active in Ara's chat. And yeah, she's just so busy with her gardening. Like she's just like mass producing healthy veggies. She's amazing. And she's so smart. She's so clever. Like she can just figure anything out. It seems like she's one of those people. Anything she puts her mind to, she's good at it. I didn't notice the thing above her head. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like I said, now that I'm looking at those two photos, and I'm trying to not fub you guys, but now that I'm looking at those two photos, stop. You stop. I don't even know why you're on here.
Really needs
I never. I'm haunted by her. I never watch shorts, and this is why. And I never watch anything with. Feel like I'm gonna puke 'cause I think my device is just overwhelmed. So let's see if I go to I'm looking at them in reverse order to try to find that third one, because I didn't realize there were 3 photographs from that same thing. And maybe there's not. Maybe there's just the 2 and I'm just misremembering things. Let's see. But yeah, it's kind of hard to find them if you try to Google to find those photographs. Because I know I've lost track of them at times because, you know, I've had trouble with my devices and then everything getting wiped off the device. And then trying to relocate. Like those are ones that I like to have. Okay. Yeah. All right. Here it is. So this is another one. Okay. I'm so glad that I went ahead to look for that. So there are 3, you guys. There are. Okay, so this is the one with the noose thing. You see that one? So the weird thing about this one, you can't see it so well from the way I'm showing this, is that the arm, it's like a hand that's holding that rope, that like circle ring. Those are almost like gymnastics rings is what it looks like. but the hand is backwards and it's wearing a red glove. So it's not her hand. It's like upside down and backwards. It's someone else's hand. And why they put it there to look like her hand is bizarre. So there's that one, and then there's that one with just the bridge and that thing coming up out of her head. And then there's this one with, it almost looks like it almost looks like this scary scene with the trees from Wizard of Oz. And they all have something red in them. So she's in the black dress. We know she's wearing the big red platform shoes in that video that Jagger made of her. So I don't know what this red thing in front of her is supposed to be. But so there are 3 of them. There are 3. That's wild. I never realized it until right now, this moment. I thought there was just the 2 photos. So let's see. Haunted look could have been what they wanted depending on the songs. It looks like the front cover and back cover. Yeah, I mean, it could be a really cool photo for that kind of thing. And that was what I thought of all of the photographs of her in the black dresses, like up there at the train tunnel with all the graffiti. And then the pictures of her, isn't there like 3 different black dresses that she's wearing in photo shoots? And with all of them, at first I thought graduation pictures, but then I thought, well, maybe they're photo shoots for her music stuff. And most likely I would imagine that Jägermeister would have taken the pictures, because not only was he dating her, but he was also a photographer. So, and we know who else is a photographer in that case, is that SF Investigates, which is just gross. To me, there are some meaning to those pictures, but Paper Songs has a good point. It could have been for a CD. You know, this band that I saw play last night, RJA, AJR, I think it's AJR. I was thinking how Kylie could have been doing music like that with all the cool, you know, like they did like so many performance art modalities, visual, music. I mean, they're just brilliant. Lasers. So lots and lots of cool stuff. And I thought, you know, she was so creative. I could see her getting into stuff like that, especially starting as young as she did. You know, it's like just music by itself in this day and age, with all of the abilities that we have with technology and all the artistic abilities, is just off the chart, off the chain. Yeah. Even possible she was getting a musical portfolio together. She obviously was going forward musically for that song with Crepe to be done. Yeah. And that's such a beautiful song. I mean, she's so freaking talented. I can't believe that song isn't like extremely popular everywhere. It wouldn't surprise me if someday it is. It's an amazing song. So proud of Shan with her garden and being out in it and getting herself some me time. She has grown so much in herself. Aw. And, you know, I was actually texting her last night because I don't know if you guys have noticed the stuff on my arms lately, but I just found out yesterday that it was probably, or is probably, poison oak, which I've never had poison oak in here. Let me touch it and then touch my face. I don't even know if it spreads anymore. Like poison ivy doesn't. Once you have it, you can touch it and touch your face and you're fine. But anyway, I've had it all down my arm, and I finally went to the dermatologist yesterday and they solved all my problems. But I know Shan has had a lot of poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac, which you will get those if you garden. And I haven't been gardening much this year, but I have a tiny bit. And I've actually been planting some things at my mother's grave site. And I think that that's what happened. I think last week, me and my oldest daughter went out there to plant some flowers, and that we both got a little bit of, I think it's poison oak. I think in the past I've gotten poison ivy out there, but this looks different. So anyway, I was texting with Shan about it, and she said Temku has helped her tremendously. And I've used Temku on exposure. It's like a soap that you just put on where you think you were exposed. You let it sit for 2 minutes and then you rinse it off, and it's supposed to prevent it from having an outbreak. But I didn't know you can use it after you've had an outbreak. But she said hers is all better from the Temku. So I need to try that, even though this is a week late. She has me so amazed at everything she has done. I know. I was thinking about her silk screening too, and I am just in awe of her and her silk screening, her gaming, um, just her technological abilities with everything she does. It's pretty effing cool. And 3 picks, because you would use a different but similar one in advertisements. The 3 picks that I just showed you of Kylie in that dress. Yeah. I read early on that their friend did the photo shoot. Can't remember his name, the guy who was a snowboarder. I'm surprised Mom hasn't put a stop to us playing it. So I guess that's one thing I'm thankful of. Absolutely. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, Paper Songs. Like, I would think that they would try to promote it, because like they could even probably make some good money on it. But yeah, I mean, it should be promoted, but in the event that all of the cover up that we think we've seen with this case, they're not going to want to promote her song and bring attention to her and to her case, which is one reason why we like to keep talking about Kylie Rodney, saying her name, hashtagging, keeping her name out there, especially in the time of the anniversary. People that are withholding information, which we know there are. We know there's people withholding all kinds of information. They have a PTSD experience typically at anniversaries. It's just a fact. A lot of people don't understand that if they've never had a traumatic incident, that there's something about an anniversary, whether you're aware that it's an anniversary or not, whether you think you care about your trauma or not, something about anniversaries that can be electrifying and really crystallize thoughts and feelings about it, and change, like tremendous changes and shifts can occur on anniversaries of traumas. So we can keep praying for that. And especially if we're talking about her case more and more over the next couple of weeks, and then, maybe it'll just help trigger somebody. I mean, I hate to say that, because it's like you don't want to trigger people with PTSD, but you do want the truth to get out there. And I think people underestimate the power of your own psyche. Like your psyche, your PTSD is designed to protect you from that trauma. But once you're ready, once your psyche knows that you can handle it, then your psyche will allow you to come to the next level with it. So people that know things about Kylie should be prepared for somebody else to speak, or maybe unbeknownst to themselves, they'll come out with something. Wouldn't that be cool? Wishful thinking, I hope not. Totally agree. Paper Song says, yes, because there is something sus going on in that place. Absolutely. Trinity, Kylie, Dante, and the others. Yeah. Trinity was what, 6 weeks after Kylie, or 2 months, 3 months? Let's see, August to September to October to November. So 3 months, like 90 days. Because I think she had her incident on November 7th, if I'm remembering accurately, and then they found her on November 9th. And so suspicious, including the statement by the coroner who said that there's nothing suspicious about her being deceased. There's nothing suspicious about her remains. Like, I'm sorry, you're stating that she was shoeless in cold weather in brambles, and yet her feet are intact. To me, that says very clearly that she was carried outside, that she didn't walk outside. And the whole thing about her being shoeless was probably because people had already seen that her shoes were at the house. So she was like, oh, she being fake Auntie Ashley, oh, yeah, she ran out the house without her shoes. Like, but then they find her and her feet are intact. So when somebody is missing, like a kid, and it's claimed that they left without their shoes are at the house. Like, think about Shanann Watts. Her shoes that she always wore were by the front door. Huge clue. She was carried out of the house. So Trinity's shoes were probably at Ashley's house, and she didn't have time to hide the shoes before she had to come up with this cockamamie story that she ran away in the snow barefoot at 10 at night. That's not what happened. And then, shoes come into play with Kylie's case because the autopsy, the coroner's report, there was no real autopsy, just the coroner's report. One shoe on, one shoe off. I mean, I guess you can call it an autopsy, but it's not like it made any sense with like the estimates, like her brain weighing 1,000 grams and her lungs, what were they, like 120 and 170 or something like that. I don't even think it was 170. I think it was like 100 and 120 or something. I mean, they were like way too small. And yeah, your left lung is always going to be smaller than your right lung because of your heart taking up space. But all of the measurements on her organs, all of the weights were exact round numbers to the tens. So that tells you that they're estimating, not that they're weighing things. And then there's the whole thing with the whiteout on the report, which is not how you fix things. If you make a mistake on a report like that, you put a line through it, one single line, you initial it, and then you make your correction. That's how that's done. You're not allowed to use a whiteout on an official report like that. And then other people have said that the signature is in blue ink. And as far as I know, signatures can be in blue ink or black ink. But I've heard a lot of content creators say that that the blue ink makes that null and void, just like the whiteout does. But then the whole thing with nobody identifying her, nobody in the family identifying her, no DNA identification, no dental records. I mean, they could have even done fingerprints, even with the decompensation of, they could have done fingerprints. Definitely could have done DNA, definitely could have done dental, definitely could have had a family member identify her. And the only real identifying thing that they used was that 17 tattoo, which was in the wrong place. They said it was like on her hip when it was on her ribs. And sure, things move in a situation like that, but tattoos are not a form of ID, no matter what. You are not ever to use a tattoo as a confirmed identification of a deceased individual. Like that's completely not legal at all. So why wouldn't they use DNA? Why wouldn't they have used her dental records? I mean, she had braces, for crying out loud. We know that there's dental records around there. We know that there's medical records around there from when she broke her arm. And as much as family members don't want to see their loved one in that state, they also do want to see their loved one sometimes for a sense of closure or something like that. I mean, I can't imagine. I don't think I'd be that person, but I know that there are a lot of people who definitely, without a doubt, I mean, it's your kid. You can't just trust somebody to say, oh yeah, we ID'd them for you. There's their tattoo. We know it's them. Anyway, I got off on that tangent. The whole thing with the shoe, the one shoe on and one shoe off with Kylie, one sock like tucked into a shoe. I mean, all this stuff is just so freaking weird, you guys. Like, we've been so flippin' gaslit for 2 years. That case makes no sense. And those people that know things must be going out of their minds that there's still people talking about that case on the internet. Like, they probably thought when they got to the 1 year anniversary that they were like crossing a finish line and that they'd be free and clear now. But no, they're never going to be free and clear. Never, ever, ever. There's no statute of limitations on red rum. There's no statute of limitations on PTSD. So anybody who knows anything, and what a scary situation. What a scary situation for all of the people in that area. Anyway, so I was talking about Trinity and how that was 90 days after Kylie. And then 4 days later, after Trinity was found, was when the Idaho 4 happened. And I'm not sure when Dante occurred. I don't know that much about Dante. Isn't he the black teenager that was like doing a school project, like soil samples out at a rest area? Because rest areas are notorious for trafficking. And yeah, I think that all Kylie, Trinity, and some of these other cases reek of trafficking. Oh, I wanted to talk about the trafficking allegations in the Micah Miller case, because there was that police report that Paula Plunder shared in one of her most recent videos about it that alluded to or stated directly that there were Asian young women or girls in JP's house. And I'm trying to remember if this was from May. I think it was from this May of 2024. So after Micah was no more. And you know, Asian is the politically correct term to use. I know a lot of us stumble and say Oriental, and that's considered like passé. We're not supposed to say it that way. Asian descent. And so multiple young females of Asian descent at JP's house with sheets covering the windows and allegations from neighbors that he was like abusing them, like physically hurting them. If that's true, why is he not getting arrested for that? That's freaking crazy. And we all know what that sounds like. You know, the history that his father has in Pakistan. He was accused of being in that business there. I mean, women of Asian descent are often targeted. And, you know, Micah looked a little bit of Asian descent, but I guess her mother is Latin American. But yeah, even Allison, JP's first wife, has a little bit of that look. So JP has a type, in my opinion. He likes the dark hair. Um, he likes them young. We know that. We know that, don't we? Where are we at? We're at an hour and 15. Um, let's see. Feet were one of the biggest clues of something wrong with the story, and the dog sent only to the gate. Paper songs, right, in Trinity's case. And then I forget who it was, if it was maybe Mr. Mark or maybe it was Ara who brought up recently that they actually did have some scent dogs early on in Kylie Rodney's case, which I had missed that. I didn't know that there were any scent dogs ever. Because, yeah, there should have been. Like, they should have gone to her house. They should have picked up her scent and then tried to find where her scent was over at the alleged party scene, right? There has been a few cases about saying they left barefooted. That's weird. Right. Right. I almost want to say Madeline Soto's case, but I don't know. I mean, we know that they pretended she went to school, but I want to say that she probably didn't have shoes on because, but maybe they had thought it through and hidden some of her shoes or got rid of some of her shoes, because, it's things like that that often trip up a perpetrator that gets them caught is that they don't think of that. And then detectives see that all of their shoes are there, or the shoes that they wear every day are there, or the shoes that they were wearing that day are there. And then it's like, okay. So they were either running around without their shoes or something else happened. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that in Maddie Soto's case that she probably was shoeless when they found her. I don't know. Because obviously something disgusting happened at the house. What a sickening case. Yeah. Paper Song says, Whiteout tells me it's not the legal document. Right. And then remember, the only birth certificate that was ever found of Kylie Rodney's was allegedly by a person who went by the handle Sifa, that said that they were male, and then they had their own channel. And then it turned out that Sifa had some very, very close alliance with MC Ultra, and Sifa was probably not real. But Sifa was the only one who found an actual birth certificate, allegedly, of Kylie Rodney. So that's interesting too. Like, I mean, it's possible that her parents were just off-grid types of people that didn't want to have a birth certificate, but still, like, I mean, and maybe that was part of the homeschooling thing too. Maybe she couldn't do regular school because there was no birth certificate. I don't know. But yeah, you have to have a birth certificate for just about everything. Well, like getting her driver's license. She had a driver's license. So, but then again, we're speaking Truckanese. If you have connections, then maybe you can go ahead and get a driver's license without your birth certificate. I do not know. It's weird, though, that nobody's ever been able to find one except that one Sifa character that I don't trust at all. And what else do we have? I still think ID would have been a number on the plate in her arm. Oh, totally, Paper Songs. I know. Like, because, yeah, she had that metal plate in her arm that would have a serial number on it. I wouldn't ID my child, not ever. I just couldn't. I know that that's probably how I would be, but I don't know for sure. I mean, if it was my kid, I would want to know for sure that it was my kid. Like, I'd be in such disbelief. Such disbelief. Oh, and so sad. I mean, so horrible that anybody ever has to go through something like that and then, to be questioned. It's sad for the people that are innocent to be questioned like that, but those that are innocent that are questioned like that understand that law enforcement is just being responsible and making sure that things check out. Like, for instance, in the Sherry Papini case, when she fake kidnapped herself, her husband, Keith Papini, was extremely cooperative with law enforcement. And, he didn't like that they kept pointing back to him, but he understood that that's normally the bottom line in a situation like that. Honestly, if I was living in that area, I wouldn't talk either. Paper songs, that's a really good point. Yeah, it's a really good point. He was Latino. Dante? Is Dante Latino? I said black, and thank you for that. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, I forget his last name. If you want to put it in the chat. Yes, Micah looked Asian, beautiful. Wasn't she gorgeous? So she won a few beauty contests before she even graduated high school. And I don't know if they were just like high school beauty contests or city beauty contests or what. But the other thing I wanted to say about Micah, and I don't know if it's the inaccurate information from a police report that the police report stated that she reported that she'd been getting groomed by JP from the time she was 10 years old. And so there was a lot of speculation that that was an error, like a typo or just a miscommunication or something, just an error. But Shay Zone, that channel, brought up that maybe Micah had made a connection with Solid Rock online when she was as young as 10. It's worth looking into because, yeah, I mean, she could have even visited the area and already made that connection with Solid Rock. And because she didn't move, her family and her didn't move to Myrtle Beach until she was like 14, actually 13. But then they say that they didn't start attending church there until she was 14. And then the allegation is that the grooming started when she was 15. And then, continued for 15 years, basically. I mean, how freaking sad. I mean, that woman had so much going for her. And JP is just like a freaking shark that ate her alive, in my opinion. Let's see. Trinity was adopted while parents were based in Ukraine. Was that another weird thing? I had not heard anything like that. Paper songs. That's super wild. I have not heard anything like that. I need to look into that. Wow. If you have any sources that you want to email me or anything you want to mention in chat, please do. You know my email. It's justiceatooz@gmail.com. I did not know she was adopted, and I did not know anything about Ukraine with her case. So she has that really creepy uncle, her mom's brother, who is just like all handsy with her in family photos. And it's super, super creepy to me. Like it looks to me like he's touching her inappropriately. It's just gross. And that's her mother. Is her mother's name Andrea Stanio, Christopher Stanio's wife. So just the fact that her stepdad is Deputy Chris Stanio, and that Deputy Chris Stanio with the Nevada County Sheriff's Department was boots on the ground for Kylie Rodney's case 3 months before Trinity goes missing. And they are very similar in looks and age and height and weight and everything, right down to the long hair and the green eyes, and the kind of like exotic beauty, like not your typical like cutesy Barbie beauty, but absolutely gorgeous in a really unique, kind of more mature kind of way. Um, huh. And then the whole thing with Andrea moving back in with Chris Daniel, and then it not being ever said about where Trinity was living. And, Trinity was allegedly at Ashley's house that night to have a sleepover, implying that she's not allowed to have sleepovers at her own house, or that maybe she was kind of homeless. I mean, if her mom moved back in with her ex husband, you would think that Trinity would be with her mom since her dad was out of state, right? Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we're talking about all this. I was expecting to talk more about Micah and some about Kylie and a little bit about Taylor Casey. Um, but yeah, Trinity deserves our attention big time. All of these people with tragic endings. And I just hope and pray that Taylor Casey is not deceased, but it's been over a month, and the only information is that her cell phone was found under 50 feet of water. Like, what weird verbiage. And not just under 50 feet of water, but under over 50 feet of water, I think is how they stated it. Like, what are you talking about, under, over? What? And, kind of trying to imply that she must have drowned and that you're never going to find her remains, when no, if she drowned, there's a good chance that you would find her remains. And it doesn't make sense. Like, if she was not going to go for a swim and take her phone with her. Okay. So I've thought about it a lot, and I don't think that she would have gone for a swim, but I do think that there's a possibility that maybe a person could be walking on the beach there, and that some unexpected heavy waves could come through and come up a lot higher. Like, I've walked on the beach where I thought the water would never touch me, and then the water just comes and like knocks you over. So like, that's possible. And then with her cell phone, but it's almost more like it implies to me that somebody threw it in the water, that they ditched it in the water. And then what are they able to get off that cell phone? Because even if the cell phone is ruined, they still should be able to get everything they need off of the cloud. And because Taylor Casey is a vet, I think she served in the Air Force, or one of our armed services or armed forces. They really need to up their game. I mean, they should be upping their game anyway, just with a missing American in the Bahamas, and especially from this freaking like cult-like yoga place. Dang, I do need to wrap up. It's after 8, so I'm gonna catch up with you guys, look at my notes, and then sign off. Let's see. Have to go. Paper Song says, oh wait, what did I miss? But can just the regular public look up someone's birth certificate? I think so, Anna Bees. Like, especially if you've got the sleuthing skills and you pay for special services. Like, Shan has all that. She has those sleuthing skills and she pays for special services. So yeah. And I don't think she's ever found anything. Just Sifa. Del Toro, thank you, Annabise. Dante Del Toro, awesome. Yeah, and I want to look more into his case, because I have looked into it some. If I'm thinking of the right one, the kid who was getting the dirt samples from the rest area. I mean, it just is like the freakiest case. Have to go. Love ya heaps. Buy all kids stuff to attend. Yeah, me too. I didn't know that. Paper Song's very interesting. Yeah, that is wild. I need to look into that. Please send me any info you might have. Good to see you. Obviously, you thought that was weird too, adoption. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are adopted. But I mean, I always thought she looked a lot like her mother and uncle. So I don't know. And people look like adopted families often too, because we kind of look like the people that we hang out with, right? I thought Trinity had a different dad. Ugh. Right. I think her dad was out of state, and then he came to talk to people when everything first happened. I remember he went and talked to Ashley, and I think he might have done an interview or something. Um, okay, I think I've covered everything. Yeah. All right, I'm going to wrap up, you guys. I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for being here, and much love to everybody. Check out this band if you are interested. Their hit song "Bang" is one that I put a link to in the description. It's probably one that almost everybody has heard, like playing on the radio or something. But a lot of their songs you've probably heard, and I mean, I had heard a ton of their songs, and I had no idea who they were or what they were about. And they're just cool. They're cool cats. They were fun. So, love and light. Have a great night. Take care of yourselves. Drink your water. Get your rest. Just be yourself, and don't let anybody discourage you from being who you are and what you are. That's always the most important message to me. So, thanks again, you guys. Lots of love.